All right, folks, it's that time again to touch base with goings on in the nation's political space with another episode in the series, Homo Politicus. I'm Cyril Abaku. First, I'll give you a roundup of major news headlines. Let's begin in Lagos, where music superstar Tiwa Savage has filed a petition accusing Davido of threatening her life and committing assault, causing grievous bodily harm. In a statement on Tuesday, Tiwa Savage urged the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Mustafa, to hold Davido accountable if any harm befalls her or her family. In the petition, she accused Davido of threatening to settle scores with her. The songstress further accused Davido of having made a direct threat to her privacy and dignity of person. Plus, we move to another part of Lagos, where the federal government on Tuesday partially shut the Eyana Oronshoki Adeleke section of the Third Mainland Bridge to begin comprehensive rehabilitation works on the bridge. The Federal Controller of Works in Lagos State, Olukorede Kesha, supervised the closure to mark the beginning of the rehabilitation. The closure was done at the intersection where motorists coming from Ojota link the Third Mainland Bridge on the island-bound carriageway. Now to our main focus for the day. Slowly but surely, attention may be going to Rivers State, where lawmakers have served a memo on the governor, but perhaps not in a literal sense. So what have they really done? This is the story. The Rivers State House of Assembly on Tuesday passed a resolution urging Governor Fubara to represent the state budget 2024 and the medium-term expenditure framework for consideration. The resolution came on the wings of the adoption of a motion by the Speaker, Martin Amewule, during the 90th plenary of the House at the Legislature's quarters in Port Harcourt. Presenting the motion, Amewule said it was worrisome that the House had yet to receive the budget and the expenditure framework from the executive arm of government. He said that the governor must present them for approval in line with the 1999 Constitution. Fubara had on 13 December presented a budget of 800 billion naira for 2024 to a four-man House of Assembly for approval. The governor signed the budget into law on the 14th of December, barely 24 hours after it was presented to lawmakers. But under the peace accord facilitated by President Bola Tinubu, Fubara was expected to represent the budget as part of conditions to end the political impasse in the state. The governor had agreed to implement the peace deal, saying it was not a death sentence. But as things appear, he wants to live in the possibility of not implementing what was not a death sentence. Well, it's an irony if you ask me. But I have with me in the studio to discuss this subject matter in Rivers State, Mr. Sheson Okwande. Mr. Okwande is a chartered accountant and public policy analyst. Mr. Okwande, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, sir. And nice to be here this afternoon.
Certainly. Well, we see what's going on in Rivers State now. The governor had said he would implement the agreement. Let's call it the Abuja Accord. Okay? He had agreed to implement it. He said it wasn't a death sentence, but it's either he has chosen to implement it up to a point, or he doesn't simply want to implement it anymore.
First and foremost, you ask yourself the question, the issue happening in Rivers State, is this something that is worth being discussed in the public space, knowing fully well what democracy is all about? It's quite disappointing that the number one citizen of a state cannot have control, but needs to wait for power that be from the center because of the godfatherism that we've seen playing out. First and foremost, this must be said, that our political, the way we're handling our political serene in the country is really nothing to go by. First, I would say Fubara becoming a governor, a lot of sacrifice was made to bring him to the limelight. And I have this to say, that when you look at the politics that will play, there would have been lots of agreements behind the scene. Don't forget that sometimes ago, we learned about a particular state where they went to shrine to go and sworn oaths, before the governor, rather than going maybe to pray, or you are like doing your work. Years back, not even the spirit. So you discover that coming into light, it's been established that you are here to answer the beckon of whosoever that must have put you there. And we've seen it in time past, some of these things happening, where the current governor will try as much as possible to play to gallery, at least for the first 2 years. But I've not seen that being played out with the governor of Rivers State, thinking that he will be able to make his move. And I don't know, there was a video that went viral about Ayo Fayoshi, the former governor of Ekiti State, warning him that you dare not play with your godfather. There are certain things you must take your eyes off and move on. These are things that they must have discussed behind the scene before coming on board. You cannot change the goalpost when you don't have full grip of those things that are actually in tune. If you ask me, he again played to gallery because he has every right to dissent on the agreement, proposed to him by the president, to let them know that I was actually elected by the people. If the so-called lawmakers want to impeach, let them go ahead to impeach. It's not a do or die affair. But this that I'm saying is like a do or die affair, that I'm here and I must just stay there. So many things has happened in Rivers State. First and foremost, 4-man committee actually approved the initial budget. You ask, why must you even present budget to a 4-man committee? Because the other people have decamped. Why don't you exercise patience for you to have, constituted to third of because the budget you are actually presenting is for some sections of the people. You have cut out about 27 people being represented, constituency being represented at the house. So those 4 there will definitely look at the budget and look at the area that will favor them, and those that were not present, you might decide to shortchange them. So there is a deficiency in that budget being presented that is signed into law. And I know that in one of the objective or agreement being signed by both parties, he was to represent it, but it's taking forever, which they are expecting him to do. The one thing I would say is that if you must venture into politics, you must understand the dynamics. First and foremost, are you going to go the way of godfatherism? Or you want to stand like an independent candidate in such a way that the people will give you their votes and you'll be able to say, no, I am not responsible to any man. But I've not seen that played out, in the state. Maybe for Oyo State that their godfather decided to go and rest, because those days in Oyo State, if you don't give tribute to Arishikola, then Alao, you will not be a governor in that state. But Ajumobi came, he defied it and said it's about the government of the people, because before Ajumobi, it's difficult for you to do second term. The godfather will tell you that the term is just for one person. Eat your own and go let another person come so that we can. But Ajumobi came, he broke the jinx, and Sheyi followed suit to make sure that he had a re-election in that state. So it's high time we kind of open up. And if you are coming out, you are good. Look and canvass for the populace rather than going the route of godfatherism. If we still play that route, we will be seeing days where you need to, be answerable to the people or to your godfather, rather than that has to do with the people that you are there to guide or to lead.
Yeah, but the way I hear you saying the godfather could either give it to you or the people give it to you. Aren't you putting too much hope in the people? Because honestly, I don't know the last time the people elected anybody.
Yeah, well, you see, it's about our system. And you see, if you elect anyone and the citizens decide not to cooperate with you, you're going nowhere. But you see, because we have actually monetized our election process, you buy people's conscience and you shut their mouth. But situation where those politicians of old, you say, in my language, you already know me, or, you can see me, but you can't see my heart. They will collect your money, and on the day of voting, you'll be disappointed, you'll be shocked at what they will actually do, because they actually want value to it. But these days, because the politician has gone that route to impoverish the people, And they know that as soon as you don't have a chunk of your own fair share before they get in, which is during the election, you may not get any. So with that, they tend to go the route to say, who has the largest chunk of money will follow you and at least make sure that we have a fair share before you come. But those days, it should be politics where people will see some of your antecedents, some of the things that you've been able to do. We've seen instances. I saw one that happened sometimes in Lagos. I think at Oshodi, where a guy was under the party then, but they said no, it wasn't his turn, and he pulled to another party, I think Labour or Accord party there, and he won the ticket to the assembly. It was Accord party. So it's to tell you that if you have been able to touch the base, the grassroots, the people knows the people that,
but I mean,
that are working.
If you went to that man's particular case, these are dynamics again. We don't know. I mean, he must have had, shall I say, a network. People believed in him. Yeah, but again,
you don't go to politics without building your network.
Sure. So, and again, it takes resources to build that up. I mean,
most of the time, I will tell individual that it doesn't take that much that you will claim if you indeed want to work. It's if you have confidence in me, you have your network. So having you, I have 10 people under your network. If I see another person having another 10, so I already have 20. So it's a function of, do you believe in my person to make sure. But most of the time, when you even believe in me, you are believing in me because of what you stand to gain, not because of what you have in me.
Because so politics is very pragmatic, very practical. What am I going to get if I'm
Everybody now, anything they want to do is what is in need for me. Even when you go, it has filtered out, and that's corruption. If you want to have it, and that's what we keep saying, that if you have people of pedigree, people who have understanding of what they can offer to the people, it will be about money. But because a lot of people have been, impoverished below the poverty level, so it's survival that everybody is looking out for. Not we're able to deliver.
So, Mr. Kwende, let's come back to Rivers State, where I don't know if you see what I'm seeing, but is Governor Fubara in trouble? I don't know if you.
Yeah, for me, I think
up to this point,
for me, as we're speaking. There's a Waterloo of problem ahead of him.
Because
he refused to.
Yes.
Because that's part of when you sign to something.
Exactly.
You must be able to oblige.
Exactly.
To it, and not even where the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria
was involved.
So you cannot. It's a discredit to his personality.
And this matter was widely advertised. Now let me bring the backstory into the picture. There was a crisis in the state. Some lawmakers defected. There is even the question of the constitutionality or legality of that defection on the table. That's one. But you went to Abuja, in spite of a pending court case, to sign, evidence of which was thrown in the public space. Your apologist came out and said it was not your signature because the color of the pen wasn't what you normally sign with. The governor came out and said it was a signature, he did it in good faith, and that the peace agreement was not a death knell in any case. Now, he wouldn't, because the lawmakers said it was worrisome. What the lawmakers wanted initially was for him to be ousted as governor, was for him to be impeached. He took the bombing of the House of Assembly to stave off the impeachment and to extend his shelf life. Now, part of the agreement was that the lawmakers must be allowed to meet wherever they choose to meet. He had already ceded sovereignty, as it were, independence, autonomy, so they can meet anywhere. I mean, the story is legislative quarters. We don't know where that is, but they met wherever it was they met, and they passed. If there is a substantive House of Assembly which even he recognizes, an agreement says represent the budget, and he hasn't done that. This House has passed a resolution, which for me is like the first step to another impeachment loading. Except the governor reasons differently.
If he doesn't think twice about his decision, possibly people are advising him behind the scene, you will definitely get himself down, and nobody will beat him at this point in time, because several people were actually saying that why would you on earth go ahead and sign that
in the first place?
Let the whole thing scatter and let's see where it goes. That would have, but you have actually considered to some of the things, so you must start by the gun.
Because this governor had, for the want of better language, had, the way we say Lagosians in Lagos, people in Rivers say Rivers people, had Rivers people behind him.
But he betrayed the confidence they have in him.
And then the people notwithstanding, his primary political bloc, the John Nation, was also behind him. But even that didn't come to anything eventually. I want to believe that it was even without his support that the Ijaw leaders went to court to say, Mr. President, this peace agreement signed with the governor is inimical to our state. The governor, because I mean, he was interviewed, from what I understand, when the Ijaw leaders called him and said, what is the issue? He didn't want to say anything. People have called him and said, Mr. Governor, speak. He didn't want to say anything. If you're making peace with your political godfather, and you're making peace, that is not like peace. Now your home base is calling you and you are not with them. Where does the governor stand, and what does the governor want?
No, he knows where he stands, but I can tell you for free, with what I'm saying there, it's like he's sitting on gunpowder. If your people that have actually...
And is he aware? Is he aware?
I'm sure he's aware. He's just not... he's out to just damn the consequences. Whatever it is, let it just be. And I think that should have been his position right from the onset, before he signed the peace accord, to say, no, we are not signing this. This is what the people want. I have the backing of the people. If they indeed want to bring the state to a comatose because it's not obliging to them, then people would have stood their ground to say, okay, whosoever you are bringing, okay, impeach him if you want to impeach him, and whosoever you're bringing, it takes the people to cooperate with you for you to succeed as a governor.
Exactly.
So now the trust that the people have in him, he has betrayed it by yielding, maybe because of fear or his jittering or anything, considered to that, hiding that might create the peace. But I want to believe, Cyril, go and mark my word, maybe before the end of this week or next week, he will revert and get those things back to those guys.
Right.
Because I can tell you for free, go and mark my word. The fact is that it is not about the people that they claim they want to govern. It's about his own ego and personality that he wants to retain. Mm-hmm. Some of these fights we are seeing, he might go back to say, I know I've derailed, I know I've missed it. Because when I will give you this practical example, which is still current, the allegation against the minister. I can tell you that in the last 2 days, she will definitely know her position. Imagine you going to the state and they are withdrawing all the right that belongs to you. We even read, I don't know how valid it is, that even the security details were actually, withdrew before he left Aso Rock. So he did not even go back with them. So you can imagine those euphoria of that you enjoy in terms of power, that aura that around you. You are coming, everybody is doing yes sir, yes ma. Some people value it a lot, and you might see Fubara, just my personal view, just down because a lot of the people we have seen in corridor of power today, it is not about the people, it is about themselves and how to massage their ego. Otherwise, I would have think that my thinking would have been that having the support of your base, one, Ijaw people, having the support of the state, even going against the 27 lawmakers that defected, you should be able to stand your ground to say, okay, since I've made the mistake of yielding, to my God, and I'm taking the bold to say, no, I'm not going to resent to some of the things you have done. I want to stand on my own. You will stand, even if they impeach you, it will be on record that at least you stood your ground for posterity's sake, that you stood your ground, that you want to change the dynamics of things. This is not just happening. Wike faced the same thing. Wike faced the same thing with his Amechi. Amechi faced the same thing with Adeleke. So it's like a norm. But he would have break the deal to say, no, we are not going to follow that path here, and I'll stand by that. But he has actually yielded. And I can tell you, if not for anything, but because of his personal ego and some of the things we enjoy, Cyril, you need to be made, you be given a political appointment just for a day. I don't ask you to ask for a week. Just for a day, and enjoy the aura and the things surrounding that political office. I tell you, you will change your mind to say that I think I need to do anything at all costs to be in this particular position. So I'm saying this as something that for him to have started the peace accord, he will go back and make that presentation. Possibly he skipped the agreement. He's not saying that line.
Now,
but we'll get that done.
Let's put a few things on the table. Just bear with me. One, when Governor Fubara was in the running to be governor of Rivers State, people said, this is Wike's third term. This is Wike's protege. This is Wike's, they call him all sorts of names. And I'm not sure if people would have voted for him on the strength of that. But, the elections went the way they did, and he became governor. Eventually, when the tables turned, people said, you are the deliverer of Rivers State from the clutches of Wike, the governor got to that phase. Then he got to the phase where he didn't listen to the people, he didn't listen to elders. Then later on, he went to a church and said, they want this red biro. That's what they want. It is still with me. I have not given it to them. And the whole place went agog. So then he had, as far as I think, he had 27 or 22 lawmakers defect, willingly defected. And if we went by the law, there was no crisis in the PDP in Abuja or even in Rivers State. There may be crisis in the government, but not in the party. So when they defected, I'm not aware if that defection was based on any party crisis that should have made. So somehow those who remained became the substantive House of Assembly that passed a budget. Didn't the governor give too much in Abuja and expecting even much more? Now, in Abuja, he appeared to have given a lot of grounds away. And then back in the Rivers State, now we don't know what he really wants in return.
The truth is, you cannot, inexperience is what I'm seeing playing out here. Mm-hmm. And when you don't understand the dynamics of things, you keep moving from one mistake to the other. Having his first bold step to say, no, it is this thing they want, and it's still in my custody. I'm not going to release it. You must stand your ground today. Last. If they have actually impeached them, those other 27, I'm sure there will be a lot of litigation going on now. And you cannot just make the move to remove the governor like that. There are people will come out to tell you. I think it was Falana that came out and said those 27 lawmakers by constitution had no right to rule in the state. And we all know that is. So you would have stand your ground for outsider now to fight the cause with the people of Rivers State, knowing fully well that you're breaking the jigs. But be fear, or like I said, he considered that if I should lose this particular post, what becomes of me? Let me just conceal to whatever the president, at least give respect. But if you must give respect to the president, make it absolute, 100%. And that's why I'm of the opinion that in no distance time, the lawmakers have actually raised it because he recognized them, like you said. So it would definitely yield to that representation of the budget for them to assent to. It's under their beck and call.
Should the governor relieve? I mean, this like whipping a dead horse. Why should the governor represent the budget, which, as far as law is concerned, is law?
Well, we are talking about law here, and him selling himself out. There are two. If you understand the law, he would not have signed to that.
The defection of the lawmakers is a matter still pending in court.
But the agreement too is still holding.
Yeah, well, but I mean, the agreement is not known to law. That's where I have my little point of divergence. So where does the governor really stand? On the agreement or with the law?
Yeah, because I don't know his profession, but
he's an accountant.
He should have people. Yeah, he should have people around him that will guide him in
and tell him what he did. Yes,
before he takes the decision. You see, you have the law in your favor, but when you are not patient enough, you run on the wrong side, and this is what you get as an individual. Having those other guys defected is enough ground for you. And that's why he presented those things to the four lawyers.
Exactly.
Just continue to have your ground. If they call for the accord meeting, let them talk to the representative of the people, which is the state assembly. But you went ahead, gave your consent, even without carrying those people along.
And then you came back to Rivers State. The former speaker of the favorable resigned.
You accepted your SSG.
So who your chief of staff? Who then becomes? We wake up by morning here. The governor has been impeached, and people will take it.
Because I was thinking that will cover up the gap to make sure that he sealed the House of Assembly so that they will not penetrate or do anything to him. But you have actually removed the person, and those ones have their own free day to actually act. So he should be ready to face the consequence. But one thing I will say is that we should start changing the dynamics of our politics in such a way that money will not be the order of the day. People that have the pedigree, people that have, what it takes, not even eye service. There are certain quality. I was discussing with a friend this morning, and he said if you go to China, there are grading process of which, even if you have political godfather, there are places, there are positions you can never hold. because the open grading system will talk of your personality. Well, because those scores are going in as you are making, they are not eye service. They are things that are verifiable, that people can see, and it's giving you the score. So even when things are not in your favor, that grade works in your favor because they know that you are there to give the delivery to the people and not to yourself. But we don't have that here. It's about who you know that gives you that safe landing if you must succeed in
why don't we have it?
Because the people to make it happen are just out there, and they are, rigmaroning and making it within themselves, not for an external person to come. Everyone that is serving today has been on since 1999. If you ask me, do we have any new entrants in any way? If you talk from the president, the governor, the Senate leader, the House of Representatives, they've been in this game since democracy in 1999. Which new people are you seeing out there? Because it is still within themselves, and we've seen certain things happening now. They are living and yielding the floor to their children to carry on.
As we take this conversation home, first, 2 questions in one. Is everything happening in Rivers State healthy for democracy? And number 2, what do you advise the governor to do?
Yeah, well, I would say for the first one, it's not healthy for democracy. But if you don't understand politics, try as much as possible to stay out of it, so that you don't get yourself dragged into what. A lot of people are going to be in the private sector and make things happen, and you'll definitely still be recognized. I don't think, maybe at least for now, let me mention the likes of Tedola, Dangote, Tony Elumelu. They are authority in their own constituency in the private sector, and the government recognize their person of their contribution to it. Because if you must go to politics, you must understand the dynamics and be able to play along. Not only, it's not peculiar only to Nigeria, it's across the globe. You see a lot of things that Trump did in US and a lot that we are hearing outside the scope. But our own is worse here. Why? Because we don't have a system that checkmate the activities of the politician in the things that they do, and that's where we get it on. If you ask me my advice for the governor, you have actually taken the bold step to give yourself, in the hands of the lawmaker. You should be able to stand by it, respect the agreement that at least you are actually carried out in the presence of the number one citizen, even though it's against the wish of your people. But you've actually give them out to the president, respect it, at least for posterity's sake, so that they will know that, okay, you failed, but you came back and this is your position. You still want to follow the path of your godfather, so that the people of Rivers State can enjoy the dividend of democracy. Each time people call that they are there to serve, I say, is it to serve the people or to serve yourself? If you are indeed there to serve the people, these differences that we keep seeing up and down will be very minimal, because the people will be of priority to you, and you'll be able to give them your best. But if we continue like this, I'm sure the people will say, and that's why we see a lot of retrogression in the life of every insecurity. As we speak, a lot of people are really not thinking about governance in that state. They are thinking about the politicking that is going on. And you will consider some people who are in the net of the governor be saying, one day they will impeach this man. What can I quickly gather before they move in? Because as soon as you get power, the first thing everybody does is they surround themselves with their own. And when they hear that there is a glimpse of them removing them, the next thing is, even if they will remove, let me be able to gather. And you ask yourself, a lot of this gathering that everybody is doing, how much has it been of beneficial, even to the people that in their locality? A lot of them will take this money, they cannot even tar the road that leads to their house, even with the money that they have actually collected or picked from the citizen. Is that bad? And most of the time, when they give stipends to the citizen, we think that they are doing us a favor, not knowing that they are giving what they have taken to you back to you, but even minimal of it. And I think we should redirect the aspect of politics, and that's why we keep saying that people who have the intellectual and have succeeded in personal business should be the people that we should be inviting into governance. Because until we take the business of governance as if you are managing a private sector where things are out there to be done properly, we go nowhere. Because a lot of lapses, even though we have the policy, the bureaucratic setting to check the activity of the politician, but because they make the law, they cut the short. They do whatever they like and they have their way. But I would feel that we should start redirecting it. This country is blessed with people, is blessed with human resources, is blessed with anything that you can say. The only thing that we are lacking as we speak is leadership director and quality leader to give that direction that is needed to make Nigeria great.
Mr. Sheson Okunade, Chartered Accountant and Public Policy Expert. It's been a joy and privilege having you this afternoon.
Thank you very much for having me, Cyril, and I want to wish our viewers the best of the day.
Thank you once again. Well, in a nation where politics is not guided by values, it is difficult to expect leaders to live above bar, as Caesar's wife did. It is on this note that we draw the curtain on today's episode of Homo Politicus, the third recording for that matter. Until this program comes your way again next time, bye for now.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.